I'm Jonathan Lehman of Nine Marks and Chevrolet Baptist Church, talking to Paul Martin, who's a pastor of Grace Fellowship Church in Toronto, Ontario. Paul, you wrote an article for us called Rejoice with Those Who Rejoice, Weep with Those Who Weep for church members to read it. And in it, interestingly, you say that it's harder and more complicated to do the rejoicing part of that than it is to do the weeping part of that. Can you explain?
Yeah, I think at least for our church, Jonathan, we're in a position where, we're in the West and life is fairly easy, and helping out people who are in need it comes kind of naturally. But in some ways, I think when the guy next to you is the guy who wins the car and you don't, and you were that close, that's where those sins like envy, jealousy so easily creep in. And so to really learn to rejoice with those who are rejoicing, I think is a spiritual exercise. If I'm a young single woman who's yearning to be married and all my friends are getting engaged and I'm not, it takes the real help of the Holy Spirit to truly rejoice with them.
Now, in this same vein, Paul, you talk about the fact that really loving people like this, so that you rejoice with them, requires putting sin to death. Can you explain that?
Sure. I think if you're going to put sins, heart sins like jealousy, envy, these kinds of sins to death, that's going to take the work of the Spirit, the help of the Spirit. And it really does take mortification. It's not simply good enough to put on a kind face, but to truly love another person, to truly rejoice in their rejoicing, to truly weep with them. This takes a work of the Lord. And thanks be to God, he promises to do it and he does do it. He gives us the grace to love one another this way.
But the insight I see in that is I have a positive command right here, but to fulfill that positive command, I have like all this other stuff in the garden, all these other weeds I got to pull before I can actually plant that rose bush, right? Just
Yeah,
make sure I get. Friends, the article is Rejoice with Those Who Rejoice, Weep with Those Who Weep. Paul, thank you for your time. Thank you for writing the article, and I commend it to everyone to read.
thanks.